But before that, we'll just revise what we discussed yesterday about Ansible. Right? So Ansible, as we said, is a configuration management tool. Right? Configuration management, a tool to automate your configuration management. Right? It is different from Python in the sense that Python we have to do something known as imperative programming, which means we have to write complete program by ourselves by putting complete logic, how the flow is going to be. Sorry, excuse me. Whereas with Ansible, what we do is we call it as declarative, right? We just declare what we intend to do, right? And leave the details, how to connect to the devices, how to achieve what we intend to do to the tool, that is Ansible. And that is the primary difference between Ansible and Python. And Ansible is written on top of Python, which means whatever we ask Ansible to do, whatever we ask Ansible to perform on the network devices or the any devices for that matter, are nothing but Python, are written in fact in Python code. In fact, they can be written in any language and be added as plugins to Python. But they have chosen to, they can be added as plugins to Ansible, but they have chosen to do it in Python because Python is like very easy and seamless to work with. Right. So during this course, we'll be seeing some operations that we'll be performing on the topology that you're looking at, like a couple of switches and a couple of routers. Ansible can be used to configure both Linux devices, Linux servers, as well as network devices. But we'll be focusing mostly on the network devices. And whatever we can do with network devices, we can do with Linux servers. And yesterday we have seen that in Ansible, everything starts with Ansible.cfg configuration file. Right? In this, we specify where to locate your inventory. Right? Inventory is nothing but list of devices that we want to work with. List of
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Back now. Okay. So yesterday we saw how we can create our inventory. We can just list the devices as they are, or we can divide them into groups for better management, right? Because the kind of task that we want to do with different groups of devices could be different. So it helps us to divide the devices into logical groups within our inventory so that we can manage groups of devices together, right? Most of the times we will not be working with individual devices, right? We'll be working with groups of devices. That grouping can be done either based on geographical location or the purpose those devices are used for. Like, let's say you have a bunch of routers which are being used as edge routers or leaf routers. Right? You deal with them differently. The kind of configuration that you want to do with them, that you want to do on them will be different vis-a-vis the configuration that you do on, let's say, spine routers or something like that. And so that is the purpose of, there's the flexibility that the inventory file gives us. Next thing is how you actually start interacting with your devices. There are two ways. And one is something known as, this is common, even we have seen in Python, right? Let's say in Python, we can start writing code on command line, right? We can give the command Python and we get into the Python CLI. There we can start giving our commands, start writing any Python code. Even for that matter, we can import netmicro and connect to the device and start interacting with the device right from the Python CLI. Same way, in Ansible also you can start giving commands to the devices straight out of your CLI. This is known as ad hoc commands, giving ad hoc commands to your devices. The other way we have seen in Python is, okay, you put all your code into a Python file, store it with .py extension, and then execute. Same thing that you can do in Ansible as well. You put all your code, which devices you want to talk to, what you want to do with them, in a file, in the form of a script, and save it, and then execute it. In Python, we call this set of instructions put together as a Python program. In Ansible, we call this set of instructions as playbook. Right? So first we will see Ansible ad hoc commands. What we are seeing is a Linux command. For example, we'll take network equivalent of it and do it. Right? For example, let's say, what is it? What command we would normally issue to network device, right? Probably a read command like show version or show clock. So if you look at this command, it is like Ansible. Ansible is the executable which will actually execute the command. DB1 here will be replaced with, let's say, R1 in our case, network device, -M command, which means -M signifies the module which we'll be using. So we'll be using a module known as command module, which is used to issue commands, CLI commands to the devices. And then -A is the actual command that you want to issue to the device. Here what we'll be passing for a network device is, let's say, show version or show clock. Yeah. Let's see that. Now, the difference is, by default, Ansible would try to connect to the devices via SSH. Right? If Ansible tries to connect to a network device via SSH, right, what it will reach is the default prompt. So, to reach the network CLI, to reach the network device prompt, it has to use a slightly different mode of connection known as network_CLI. Right? So that will be specified. How to connect to network devices? -C network_CLI. Right? Using Ansible, you go to R1 using this command module. Try to execute this command, but while executing this, use network CLI as connection mode and not the standard SSH. That's what this command means. Okay, I'm inside. I'm somewhere else. I'm not in the point of view. I should move to.
Recording stopped.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Or still this is the same? You're not able to hear me. Okay. Just give me a minute. Some issue with my router. Yeah, I stopped it intentionally. I'll be just starting it.